Good morning, students. I hope you all are doing good. Today, in this session, we are going to take up your second book that we have, that is called Moments. As you can see the picture, I'll show you the index of the book. So, this is the index. As you can see, there are a total of 10 chapters, and the first chapter that we're going to begin today is The Lost Child, which is written by Mulk Raj Anand. Okay, students. So I'll give you a little brief about the chapter. It is about a small child who goes with his parents to a fair and he gets lost over there. Okay, so the whole chapter deals with what all things he sees and how excited he gets. And in that excitement, he gets lost from his parents and how he was dealing with that situation. So I hope you enjoy the chapter. Let's begin. The Lost Child. A child goes to a fair with his parents. He is happy and excited and wants the sweets and toys displayed there. But his parents don't buy them for him. Why then does he refuse when someone else offers them to him? It was the festival of spring. From the wintry shades of narrow lanes and alleys emerged a gaily clad humanity. Now, wintry shades, that means that yes, there were wonderful shades of spring because of spring. So the nature was filled with wonderful shades. That is the cool breeze, the greenery all over. Of lanes and alleys, alleys means narrow streets, emerged a gaily clad humanity. Gaily means enjoying. Clad here means a young boy. Okay. Some walked, some rode on horses, others sat, being carried in a bamboo and bullock carts. One day, one little boy ran between his father's leg, brimming over the life and laughter. Brimming means staring at the life and the chaos around him. So let's go over to the second page of the chapter. "Come, child, come," called his parents, as he lagged behind, fascinated by the toys in the shop that lined the way. So his parents are calling him to hurry up and keep in pace with them, or keep in the same speed like them. Otherwise, he would be left behind. Lag behind means left behind. He hurried towards his parents, his feet obedient to their call, his eyes still lingering on the receding toys. As he came to where they had stopped to wait for him. He could not suppress the desire of his heart, even though he well knew the old, cold stare of refusal in their eyes. So, what the child does is he quickly hurries up and he goes to his parents. He obeys his parents, as we can see the line says, his feet obedient to their call, but his eyes were still waiting, looking at those toys, those wonderful toys that were in the shop. So when he reached over there where his parents were waiting for him, so he could not suppress the desire. That means he could not hide his feelings for buying those toys or getting those toys. But at the same time, he also saw a very cold stare. That means he could see that his parents were not ready to buy him the toys. So let's proceed further. "I want that toy," he pleaded. His father looked at him red-eyed, in his familiar tyrant way. Now, familiar tyrant's way, that means in a very, we can call tyrant as a strict way. His mother melted. His mother melted by the free spirit of the day and was tender and giving him her finger to hold. Her finger to hold, said, "Look, child, what is before you?" It was a flowering mustard field, pale like melting gold, as it swept across miles and miles of even land. So now his mother is trying to hold his finger and trying to take him with him. And also, she's trying to distract him by showing an open field filled with mustard flowers. A group of dragonflies were bustling about on their gaudy purple wings, intercepting the flight of lone black bee or butterfly in search of sweetness from the flowers. The child followed them in the air with his gaze till one of them would still its wings and rest, and he would try to catch it. But it would go fluttering, flapping up into the air when he had almost caught it in his hands. Then his mother gave a cautionary call. Come, child, come onto the footpath. So in this paragraph, what we can see is when his mother shows him the fields, so he enjoys that. In the fields, he sees a lot of activities of the dragonflies. Bustling means moving around here and there, and of course they see the butterfly. So now he gets carried away and attracted towards these little things. So he goes running behind those butterflies. There again, he gets away from his parents. So his mother calls again, Come, child, come on the footpath. He ran towards his parents gaily and walked abreast of them for a while, being, however, soon left behind, attracted by little insects and worms along the footpath that were teeming out from their hiding places to enjoy the sunshine. So for a while, when his mother called him for the second time, he quickly went ahead and he started walking ahead of them. Okay, but then again he was left behind. Again he got attracted by those little insects and the worms, which were coming out of their hiding places to enjoy the sunshine. Come, child, come, his parents called from the shade of the grove where they had seated themselves on the edge of the well. He ran towards them. A shower of young flowers fell upon the child as he entered the grove, and forgetting his parents, he began to gather raining petals in his hands. But lo, he heard the cooing of the doves and ran towards his parents, shouting, The dove, the dove. The raining petals dropped from his forgotten hands. Come, child, come, they called to the child, who had now gone running in the wild capers round the banyan tree, and gathering up, they took narrow, winding footpath which led to a fair through the mustard fields. Now here what happened, students? So when his parents sat under the grove. Now grove here means under the shade of the tree, and when he goes and joins them, so the flowers were falling from above the trees. So he enjoyed collecting those flowers. Now as he was collecting the flowers, he hears the sound of the dove. So then he again gets distracted by the dove. So he started running behind the voice of the cooing of the dove, and to find out where it was coming from. Again his parents started calling him, and now they got up from there and they started moving towards the fair, which was through the mustard fields. So we're going to the next page. As they neared the village, the child could see many other footpaths full of throngs converging to a whirlpool of the fair, and felt at once repelled and fascinated by the confusion of the world he was entering. So now here again, so he followed his parents' instructions and he went near the village where the footpath full of throngs, that means it was crowded place, okay, and it was completely noisy, converging to the whirlpool of the fair. So that was leading him into the chaos of the fair, and felt at once repelled and fascinated by the confusion of the world he was entering. A sweetmeat seller hawked gulab jamun, rasgulla, barfi, jalebi at the corner of the entrance, and the crowd pressed round his counter at the foot of an architecture of many colored sweets, decorated with leaves of silver and gold. The child stared open eyes and his mouth watered for the burfi that was his favorite, as he begged that his plea would not be heeded because his parents would say he was greedy. So without waiting for an answer, he moved on. So when he entered the fair, he sees the first stall that he sees over there is not a stall, sorry. It was a hawker who was hawking, and he was carrying a wonderful sweets of different colors. And there was a gulab jamun, rasgulla, barfi, jalebi, etc. But then he wanted to have those again. So he said that yes, in a very low voice, he murmured, I want that barfi. But then he didn't scream loud because he knew that his parents would say that he is greedy. So he knew what the answer of the parents would be. So without waiting for the answer, he moved on and he started moving with them. Now the next what he sees, the flower seller hawked a garland of gulmohar, a garland of gulmohar. The child seemed irresistibly drawn. He went towards the basket where the flowers lay, heaped and half murmured, I want that garland. But he well knew his parents would refuse to buy him those flowers because they would say they were cheap. So without waiting for an answer, he moved on. So the second thing he got attracted to was the hawker selling flowers and the garland. Garland means we can chain of flowers, okay? So again, he thought that it was pointless telling his parents to buy that for him because his parents would again say that no, it's not good. Those flowers are not good. So again, without saying or expecting any answer, he starts moving on. A man stood holding a pole with yellow, red, green, and purple balloons flying from it. The child was simply carried away by the rainbow glory of their silken colors, and he was filled with an overwhelming desire to possess them all. But he well knew his parents would never buy him the balloons because they would say he was too old to play with such toys. So he walked on further. So the next thing he gets attracts to is the balloon. Okay. So further he sees a snake charmer stood playing with the flute, a flute to a snake which coiled itself in a basket. Its head raised in a graceful bend like a neck of a swan, while the music stole it into its invisible ears like gentle rippling of an invisible waterfall. The child went towards the snake charmer, but knowing his parents had forbidden him to hear such a coarse music as a snake charmer played, he proceeded further. So here, students, we get to know that the child is getting attracted to a lot of things. First, the sweet meat seller, then the flowers and flower seller, and then the man standing with a lot of balloons, and then the snake charmer. But at each attempt, he knew that his parents wouldn't allow him anything. So he still kept on moving further to again be close to his parents. There was a roundabout in full swing. Men, women, and children carried away in whirling motion, shrieked and cried with dizzy laughter. The child watched them intently and then he made a bold request. I want to go on the roundabout. Please, father and mother. So at last they come to he sees a roundabout in full swing. Roundabout is a kind of, I would say, a ride for children, which goes, it usually has horses and the children sit on the horse and it goes around, just like merry-go-round we have. Okay, so now he demanded his parents that he wants to go on that, and there was a lot of crowd near that place. Okay, now proceeding to the next page. There was no reply. He turned to look at his parents. They were not there ahead of him. He turned to look on either side. They were not there. He looked behind. There was no sign of them. So at last, at this point of the chapter, students, we can see the child gets lost from his parents. A full deep cry rose within his dry throat, and with sudden jerk of his body, he ran from where he stood, crying in a real fear, "Mother, father!" Tears rolled down his eyes, hot and fierce. His flushed face was convulsed with fear. Convulsed with fear means it was covered with fear. He was more scared. He was crying and he was very scared at this point of time. Panic stricken, he ran to the first one side first, then to the other, hither and thither. Hither and thither here means here and there, in all directions, knowing not where to go. "Mother, father," he wailed. His yellow turban came untied and his clothes became muddy. So the poor child now lost his parents and now he's trying to move here and there. He's crying desperately. He's very scared also. So he is not able to see his parents. Having run to and fro in rage of running for a while, he stood defeated. He cries suppressed into sobs. At little distances on green grass he could see, through his filmy eyes, men and women talking. He tried to look intently among the patches of bright yellow clothes, but there was no sign of his father and mother among these people, who seemed to laugh and talk just for the sake of laughing and talking. So ahead of him, suddenly he saw a crowd, but then he tried to look very carefully at the crowd, the people, the men and women laughing and talking. But still he could not find his parents standing in that crowd as well. He ran quickly again, this time to a shrine to which people seemed to be crowding. Every little inch of space here he was congested with men. But he ran through people's legs, his little sob lingering, "Mother, father," near the entrance to the temple. However, the crowd became very thick. Men jostled each other, heavy men with flashing, murderous eyes and hefty shoulders. The poor child struggled to thrust a way between their feet, but knocked to and fro by the brutal movements. He might have trampled underfoot had he not shrieked at the highest pitch of his voice, "Mother, father!" A man in the surging crowd heard his cry, stooping with great difficulty, lifted him up in his arms. So what happens is, all of a sudden he sees a crowd moving towards the temple. So he runs and goes there, but as it was too much crowded, so he falls off and he is run over by the people crowding over there, and he suddenly cries loud, and there was a man who heard his cry, and he suddenly picked him up from that in between that crowd so that he doesn't get hurt. "How did you get here, child? Whose baby are you?" the man asked as he stared clear of the mass. The child wept more bitterly than ever now and only cried, "I want my mother, I want my father." The man tried to soothe him by taking him to the roundabout. "Will you have a ride on the horse?" he gently asked as he approached the ring. The child's throat tore in thousand shrills, sobs, and he only shouted, "I want my father, I want my mother." So see children, at this point of time, when he is away from his parents, he is given a chance to sit on the roundabout. The man was actually trying to calm him down, but he did not listen, and he was just crying, and he just had one thing to say, that "I want my mother and I want my father." Now moving on to the next page. The man headed towards the place where the snake charmer still played on the flute and swaying cobra. "Listen to that nice music, child," he pleaded. But the child shut his ears with his fingers and shouted his double-pitched strain, "I want my mother, I want my father." The man took him near the balloons, thinking the bright colors of the balloons would distract and the child's attention and quieten him. "Would you like rainbow-colored balloons?" he persuasively means in a convincing tone. The child turned his eyes from the flying balloons and just sobbed, "I want my mother and I want my father." The man, still trying to make the child happy, bore him to the gate where the sweet flower seller sat. Look, can you smell those nice flowers, child? Would you like a garland to put around your neck? So, children, now here what we see is what all things the child was getting attracted towards in the beginning of the chapter as he entered the fair and as he proceeded into the fair. So now this man who had caught him was offering him each of those things, but the child was now saying no, because the only thing he wanted now in the world is to meet his father and mother. So now let's go to the last part of the chapter, the last paragraph. The child turned his nose away from the basket and reiterated his soul. Retaliated means he again began to cry. I want my mother and I want my father. Thinking to humor his disconsolate charge by a gift of sweets, the man took him to the counter of sweet shop. What sweets would you like, child? He asked. The child turned his face from the sweet shop and only sobbed, I want my mother and I want my father. So at this point of time, yes, the chapter ends here. Again, we can see the last offer the man makes to him was sweets. But this time, the child was not interested in sweets as well. So this is the little chapter. Yes, it is written by Mulk Raj Anand. So students, along with the chapter, I'm going to be attaching the question answers from your BBC Companion. And I'll also mention the question answers that you're supposed to be noting down in your copies. I hope you enjoyed the chapter, students. So we'll meet next with another interesting chapter. Till then, all of you, stay safe, stay indoor and stay healthy.